not at all required, I would say. But if you are going to very core specific product companies, like for example, Google, even Microsoft doesn't need that. But if the work is too technical, for example, browser stack is there. Okay. So their work is they need to test the applications for the other companies. So in those cases, the technical knowledge will be.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another podcast powered by Grow Junction. And I, Shivangi Shaw, will be your host for the day. Today, we have with us Mr. Nilanjan Kala, Product Manager at Paytm. We are honored to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Shivangi.
So, how are you?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm good. And thanks for inviting me to this podcast. It will be really helpful for me also to learn and also to share some of my experience that can help the other aspirants and other people who are into this domain.
Thank you so much for your time. We are actually honored. Thank you. So, can you, it'll be great if you could start by giving a brief introduction to yourself to us.
Yeah, sure. So, hello everyone. So, I am Nilanjan and I am from Kolkata basically. But across my educational journey and my job journeys and the college journeys, I have been to different parts of India because my dad was in a bank. So I have traveled like almost 80% of India, you can say. So to make it short, like I passed out of Chandigarh University in 2016. And after that, I got placed in Wipro as a cybersecurity analyst. And then I worked there for 17 months. And after that, I went to SBI as an assistant branch manager, the normal branch operations and everything. And then in 2019, I joined IIM Bangalore. And there I completed my 2 years of MBA. And during my MBA, I worked at Sprinkler as my internship. So there, it was a beautiful experience for 2 months. And after passing out from college, I was at Paytm Payments Bank looking after the debit card portfolio for the product team. And recently, I have joined Angel One, and here I am looking at the B2B business of there.
Great, that's
so
great.
Yeah.
So, Nilanjan, you were talking about your PGDM from IIM Bangalore. So, how was your experience regarding, your your studies over there, your placements, your SIPs, basically your overall journey in PGDM from IIM Bangalore?
So before I start my IIM Bangalore journey, let me tell you that I am not from any great undergrad college. Okay. So I was the first batch of that college to pass out. So it was not even tier 2, tier 3. Okay. So if you are from any of the colleges which are not very good in your undergrad, so don't lose hope. So you can always land up in a very good college and a very good role. So then coming to IIM Bangalore also, IIM Bangalore journey was great, but the journey was not smooth. It came up with lots of challenges and everything, as I was not from would say tier 1 college or tier 2 college. So it was a little bit more difficult for me. And the thing is that I was not like a typical MBA candidate who knows that what he wants to do, his specialization he wants to do. So I came with an empty mind that, okay, I will go in the first 1 or 2 terms, I will figure out, go through all the subjects, check where is my interest, and then I will lead across. So while doing the preparation and resume mentoring and resume building and everything, I got to know that I have a keen lean on the product management side. But as I was coming directly from operations side, as from SBI, so people told me that you can't get to product management. And when the shortlist came, it was true. There was no shortlist. Only one shortlist was there. That was of Sprinkler. So for IIM Bangalore, Sprinkler is the company who is rated the highest for product management. So I thought that if no other company is asking me for an interview also, and only the company who is the topmost company, they're asking me. So I don't think I stand a chance. So I started preparing for the general management roles, operations role, and some product management I prepared because that's the one interview I had. So then I went into the summer internship process. So there were some big FMCG companies that were lined up in the morning and everything. So I got rejected. So I faced 7 rejections in the summer internship process back to back, because in IIM Bangalore, there is one day in which all companies come. Okay. So it was very heartbreaking. So when I landed in sprinklers interview, it was like कि boss कोई तो नहीं लेने वाला अब. Because when the other companies were, which I prepared for, I couldn't clear it up. So the product which I prepared a little bit because there was only one short list. Okay. And I am coming from operation background. So, but then when I went there, so they asked me simply that please design a banking app for a customer who will be an old age customer. So I designed the app and they were very happy with this thing. Second round, they selected me for the second round, and the second round, they again asked me for designing a resume building app. So I designed that and they offered me right there. No questions asked, no HR round, anything. They took me. So that was a very happy ending for my journey for the summer internship. But then things also didn't go well. The COVID hit because our internship started from 2020 to 2020 April month. And that was a peak time when the COVID pandemic started. So the internship was, the companies were adapting to this new thing of this remote work and everything. So unfortunately, we didn't convert any PPO. So then I started to think that, okay, my background was not in product management. I have only one internship. So what can I do? So then I started reaching out to different companies for live projects where I can make some experience in the product management domain. So I reached out to Atlassian, made a project with them. I reached out to a startup in Bangalore. I made some product management project with them, and also tried out some certifications also. One is the ISPMA one, so that I was trying to build my profile into a product management kind of profile so that the companies will be interested in me. And then on the very first day, Paytm landed and I cleared in the first round. So that was my overall journey at IIM Bangalore.
Great, that's very inspiring. After so many difficulties, then landing to Paytm, it's very inspiring. A lot. Okay, so what is actually the role of a product manager? Like, how would you describe your day-to-day work as a product manager at Paytm, being very specific?
Yeah, so now it's Angel. So I will switch to Angel, like how it's going. So the role of a product manager is you can say you are the representative of the customer in the company, because there is no one in the company who is for the customers, right? And everyone has these targets and everything, and somewhere down the line, people forget it what the real customer and novice customer really wants. So you are the guy who is the voice of the customer in the company, in the organization. So coming to the work of a product manager, it involves lots of steps. So the first one is to manage all the stakeholders that you have, because the business team will come up with their goals. The legal team, compliance team, they will come up ki this is the legal restriction, this is the compliance restriction, you're gonna do that. But you have to come up with something which will solve the customer's problem, because customer doesn't need those compliance and anything. He wants in ease of use. So the different roles that we perform is, first will be the road mapping, where we create a roadmap for the year or maybe for the quarter and everything, that what are the things that we need to resolve in the time to come. Then there will be something that will be your short-term goals, in which you will be fixing bugs, fixes, because not everything will be planned as per your plans, right? There will be some things that are not going good. So you need that also. Then you have to align with the visions and goals, like what your business is going to achieve. Because for example, let's take one example that you business team wants to acquire more customers and you are building a beautiful checkout page. So checkout page is the last page. So you should first work on the onboarding part. So your vision, your roadmap should have this onboarding part, not the checkout page the first priority. Even if you like, or the customer is facing lots of problems in the checkout page, you can make a checkout page a bit cool so that the customers can sail through it. But you should also focus on the business goals and align to them. And then you have to do like product requirement engineering, where you write the PRDs, like what should be the features of the product, what is the database that you're going to store, what is the analytics that you're going to check, what is the funnel of the customer. So then you do the release planning, and once the release is done, you measure those metrics and everything that you have already set in place, and then the loop goes on and on. So the one thing I will suggest here or tell everyone, so you need to have a very clear-cut goal of the empathy of the customer, like what we are doing and why we are doing it.
Right. So our main goal must always be, what customers want. Like, and that
Yeah,
way we should plan our whole work, how we are doing.
yeah, and how you can align that with your business goals.
Business goals and visions. Right, right.
Business
Right.
goals
Correct.
and vision.
Okay. So moving forward, what do you think a recruiter looks for in a candidate when it comes to product management? There are two more questions I would want to ask with this is like
Yeah.
being a fresher or having a work experience have an impact during the interviews of such big companies? And is technical knowledge very important when it comes to, being a product manager? So
Yeah,
if you
sure.
can
I'll
answer
go
that.
one by one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing recruiters look is the breadth of thinking rather than the depth. The depth is also important, but why the breadth means how far you can cover the solution. Because when you, for example, let's take an example of a B2C app. Okay. So you will have lots and lots of customers, and every customer will have their own unique requirements. So if you can think in a broad and breadth way, so you can cover more use cases and more cases. So the first thing that they will look is the breadth, what is the breadth of your thinking, like how the different customer, the different personas you can think of, the different users you can think of. And one more thing most of the recruiters see is, do you have a clear understanding of the buyer persona and the user persona? Because in most of the companies also, this is more specific to a B2B company, because the person who is buying the product is not the one who is using the product. Let me give some simple example. For example, if a ice cream seller sells their product to someone, okay, so the guy maybe his father, okay, and he is buying for his son. So here the buyer persona is the father and the user persona is the son. So he needs to attract both of them. So the first attraction should be for the buyer persona. They should put forward their, what is the overall efficiency or the cost saving, what are those things they are helping out with. And for the user persona, they should provide the usability of the product, because both of their desire is different. One needs ki how much cost we are saving, how much efficient our system will be. The second one is how easy is to use, how easy is to adopt. So you need to have a clear understanding of what is the buyer persona, what is the user persona. And then coming to the second question, that is freshers have a advantage? So what I will say is that whenever you are a fresher, so yeah, it makes a little bit of impact if you have a previous product experience, but it's not the end of the world. You can always work on those things during your MBA program or before MBA, like doing some internships, making some products, making some product requirement document, or maybe analyzing some products, like what are the features you like, what are the features you don't like. So just build those skills of product thinking and try to have some good product experience in the form of a different company. You can go for free internships also, like go to random people on LinkedIn and ask, just please take me for an internship for 4 weeks, give some interviews, clear them, and take that experience. I think that will build some experience also, and also help your resume also to put forward for the final selections. So what was the third question? Did I miss anything?
Yeah, it was regarding the technical knowledge. Is it very necessary
Yeah.
for someone to have a technical knowledge if he's not from that area?
So technical knowledge is not at all required, I would say. But if you are going to very core specific product companies, like for example Google, even Microsoft doesn't need that. But if the work is too technical, for example browser stack is there, okay, so their work is they need to test the applications for the other companies. So those cases, the technical knowledge will be required a little bit, but not like you need to code and everything. Because and in other companies, it will be a positive bonus if you have this technical knowledge. Because like for example, when you are coming up with some features and you go to an engineering team, so they can outrightly say we cannot do it. It's out of our feasibility, or it may take months. So how will you judge that whether it is right, it can be feasible or not? So it's not required to clear the interview, but if you have some knowledge, it will be helpful during your job, because interview is not the end of everything. You need to learn that also on the job also.
Right, right, correctly said, very correctly said. So moving forward, so there are many students from a very different background, and then they want to opt for product management as a career. So what
Yeah.
skills do you think they must focus on in order to, get into this field? Maybe a starter's guide to them.
Yeah, so first of all, starts using lot of products, products in the form of apps and everything. Like check their whole journey, because the most important thing a product manager should understand is the customer journey. Like when he lands on the app to the time he is in the app, the whole customer journey. The better the understanding someone has, the better product manager he will be, because he will know where he can drop, where the customer can do something, where there's a problem with the funnel and everything. So the better the understanding of a customer journey, the better will be that. Second thing will be to read some of the materials, follow platforms like Grow Junction and everything, where they will provide some free materials. They have some awesome materials also, and provide the take some workshops also if not if possible. There are other channels also. So have a basic understanding like what they do, what they don't do, understand the product, and in this way they can do some stuff. And the third most important thing is they should build a resume in a very good format. So what do you mean by building a resume in a good format if you're not from a product management background? So for example, in any organization, if you do anything that resolves around cost saving or increasing efficiency, so when you're saving cost, so what you are doing, you are resolving the pain point of the finance department, right? We can say that. So in some aspect, every one of us has done something that is related to product management. It's not product management, some third party thing, it's not there. So when you're doing your day-to-day stuff also, you're doing some aspects of product management. So try to highlight those things. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have not done anything. Like when I went there in my interviews, I directly say that as in SBI also I worked as a product manager. So they're like, it's an operational job, but it's not like that. If I am removing the obstacles faced by customers, okay, the waiting time was very high for our branch, so I reduced it from 30 minutes to like 6 minutes. So what I did, I resolved the pain point of the customer. So that's the work of the product manager, right? So you didn't know to design an app or make some figmas or make some links or some UIs. So okay, that you will do in the later part of career. But if you are from other backgrounds, you're also doing a work for product manager. So don't be disheartened. Just put that in that format and you'll be good to go.
Right. So, our main focus must be on the problem of the customers. How can we reduce the
Yeah.
time so, their problems can be addressed very fast, right?
Fast. Yeah.
Great. That was great. So, as we all know, due to the onset of COVID, there were a lot of sectors who were, impacted. So, how has it impacted the product managers, and what are the new strategies that are being formulated, to adapt to this new normal now? If you could throw some light.
Yeah, I think the product manager guys were the lucky ones due to this pandemic and everything, because a lot of the companies which might be thinking to go digital in the latter part of time, they got that desired push due to this COVID and every restrictions. And if you can see, every company is coming up with some digital presence through their apps, through their so I will say that the amount of jobs or the number of opportunities has increased. Even the apps which are having a multiple in the apps which are having multiple different channels, they're also accumulating, making some super app. For example, Tata New, that's a new app they have made. So there are different, so I don't see that the pandemic has harmed us in any way. I would say it has opened more doors and more opportunities for the product managers.
That's great to hear. Yeah, actually, more opportunities for the product managers, right?
Yeah, because
So,
companies are
yeah,
fast forwarding to the digital platform.
digital platform, right.
Yes.
So, apps and everything are coming handy, right?
Yeah.
So, my last question to you will be,
Yeah.
were there any struggles or obstacles that you faced in your journey till now? And how did you deal with those? And what were your learnings from it? If you could tell our viewers that.
Yeah. So as I already mentioned about my obstacles during my MBA, so I will in this section I will put my obstacles that I faced as a product manager when I joined the organizations and everything. So the first major drawback that I had was lack of technical knowledge. So that was a big chunk of problem for me, because when I was writing some product requirement documents, the feature should look like this, the icon should look like this, the customer will click here and go like this and this and that. So it finds very lucid and very smooth. But when I go and tell my requirements to the engineering team and design team, then I got to know that okay, there are a lot of aspects. Even a single click and a simple page switchover may be a very easy thing to see from a user perspective. But to develop that with the things, it's very difficult. So I faced a lot of difficulties like negotiating with the developers, that what should be a time frame and everything. So what I used to do is, like when I went there, I joined each and every senior manager's meetings of that engineering requirements and everything. So, and I got the details of each and every product or each and every feature that was launched during the last 1 year. And from that, I was trying to get a gauge, like what is the requirement, and if the requirement is to make an API, so how much time usually it takes. So from that things and from the way the other peoples are negotiating, I get an idea like, okay, this is the feature I want to develop, so this might take this amount of time based on the past that these guys have done. So through that, like putting in a lot of effort, which are not exactly to your domain, and talking to other PMs, and also referring to other videos also, because it's not like that if you land in a product management job, it's over. Like I also listen to the Grow Junction's podcast and everything. So there I get to know about different PMs viewpoints, and not only PMs, but like if you see and go to the consulting materials also,